Hey everyone, here is our trip to Belfast. So we're going to start with chapter 1, the irony of travel footage. And that is, I always get a lot of travel footage of us going places because that's when I'm most bored and remember to record. And then I forget to actually record when we get places. The other irony is spending hours waiting in a lobby or waiting room only to sprint the second they open the gate so you can guarantee a 4-seater on a train. Which is something I may or may not have done. Chapter 2, a welcome party like none other. So as soon as we got to Belfast, we arrived to a parade. We hadn't even got to our Airbnb yet, so we got to enjoy the parade and wiggle our way through the crowds with our suitcases and check out some fancy, important looking buildings as we hunted for our Airbnb. Now, our second day of Belfast, we decided to take a tour bus. This is a great way to kind of get a lay of the land or the history of the country. And it was a just general Belfast tour, but they also ran Game of Thrones tours. So our tour guide, who is usually from the Game of Thrones tour, knew a lot about the Game of Thrones series. So he took us to this magical tree place, which is in like 6 seconds of Game of Thrones, and we got some really epic Instagram shots. Now the issue was it was so well known that it was hard to get a good shot, but I think this is the real winner. This house is just so perfect. Now I propose that a group of tourists be referred to as a lemming of tourists, and this next story is from seeing some cliffs. There was like a hedge and I didn't get a good shot of it, but the signs clearly said don't step on the hedge and some of the tourists did. Turns out it's a false ledge, but luckily no one was hurt. Chapter 5, or my favorite chapter, the Narnia Tunnel. So this is the one thing I really wanted to do in Belfast and all of Ireland, and it was check out this attraction. So you start by going through this Narnia tunnel that takes you from Cityscape to these beautiful oceanside where you get the hexagonal rocks. These things are awesome. This is called Giant's Causeway. It has a great story about how giants were trying to trick each other and all that, and they're at war with each other. I mean, look at these sharp edges, and since we had some extra time, I even got some slow-mo of the waves. I really appreciate that we had extra time here. It kind of allowed me to enjoy it and then also get some shots of it. And I even got a sick time lapse of a guy taking a time lapse. Having sufficiently soaked in enough nature, we decided to head back to the city, and by we I mean the tour headed us back to the city to check out the Peace Wall, which goes back to the conflict in Northern Ireland and this wall being built to promote peace in this town. Now on the last day, we decided to take an AP history class by James Cameron, and by that I mean we headed to the Titanic Museum. This was Barbara's checklist pinnacle of the trip adventure. She teaches Titanic to her 4th graders every year, and so this was really fun to see, and I loved it because it's the only museum that I've gone to that had a roller coaster in the museum. All in all, the trip to Belfast was amazing, and I even did get some shots of us shopping, not just us traveling on the trams and buses. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Here's a 30-second clip of a snail. I'm just kidding, it's only 25 seconds.